Cincinnati is suing its former quarterback. He is a current Texas Tech Red Raider, Brendan Sorsby. And it comes just a day after Sorsby took a bit of a shot. He did some trolling of Cincinnati on Twitter. So transferring within the conference, getting a little bit ugly, unfortunately, here. In this video, I'll tell you who's in the right. I will show you that shot that Brendan Sorsby took at Cincinnati. And we'll discuss how this makes the Big 12 football season much more intriguing. There is at least that, as much as I hate this story in general. Okay. So you guys are all aware, Brendan Sorsby, right? Started for Cincinnati this past season. Had a breakout year, 62% completion percentage, 2,800 yards, 27 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. It's a great season. Sorsby blew up and became one of the most sought after, if not the most sought after quarterback in the portal. Certainly debate between he and Sam Levitt. Maybe Darian Mensah, if you were to throw him in there. I'm not sure people knew he was actually available. But while Brendan Sorsby did play 2 seasons at Cincy and really blew up in the second, it is fair to mention he was an Indiana Hoosier once upon a time before they were the Indiana Hoosiers that we now know and love. And so he has not spent his entire career at Cincinnati. Not a total Bearcat through and through, but Cincinnati was very good to him, certainly this past season. And you knew there would be hard feelings when he goes within the conference for $5 million to go play at Texas Tech, right? Cincinnati is now trying to get what it can back out of the deal, though. They were not going to be able to get their quarterback. Even these schools, well, I suppose Washington kind of did get their quarterback back, but we didn't see it work for Duke. Like most of these schools, if you really want to hang on to your QB, it's a tough thing to do. But what you can do is recoup a little bit of money. And you can muddy the waters and you can make life a little bit more difficult for the quarterback at the next stop. That's what Cincinnati is doing here, although seemingly justifiably. Okay, I don't want to tip my hand too much on how I feel about this story, but this is from On3, talking about the lawsuit filed by Cincinnati. In the suit filed in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Ohio Western Division, goodness gracious, Cincinnati argued Sorsby signed a 2-season NIL deal with the school on July 1st of 2025. All right, so Sorsby signed a 2-year deal last year before the last football season. Cincy argues that per the terms of the agreement, Sorsby was due to pay the university $1 million in liquidated damages within 30 days of his transfer. He had not paid that amount as of the time the suit was filed. So he had 30 days to give Cincinnati $1 million for breaking the contract. That's the general idea here. On3 says, in the suit, Cincinnati argued Sorsby is capable of paying the $1 million figure after signing his deal at Texas Tech. On3 previously reported that deal is worth around $5 million. Here's a statement. This is part of a statement from Cincinnati. Okay, so we've got a statement from them after filing this lawsuit being like, hey, man, you're getting $5 million. You can give us $1 million to satisfy your contract. Quote, Cincinnati Athletics is proud to partner with its student athletes and honors the contractual commitments it makes to them. We expect student athletes and their representatives to do the same. In his lucrative NIL agreement with Cincinnati Athletics, Brendan Sorsby committed to stay and play for 2 seasons as a proud Bearcat representative. He also agreed that if he left the university before that time, he would pay the university a specific amount for the substantial harm that his breach would cause. Cincinnati Athletics intends to enforce the contractual agreement as stewards of the university's resources. The athletics department has a duty to do so. We thank Brendan for his time at Cincinnati and wish him success in the future. Okay, so there's your statement. There's the lawsuit. Now you have at least presumably the facts. Now I haven't seen like a counter argument necessarily from Brendan Sorsby yet, but this isn't the full story. Okay, we've got to get the rest of the back and forth after Brendan Sorsby's Twitter fingers got going a little bit yesterday. I do want to remind you real quick, please do subscribe to the channel, pushing toward 35K subscribers. Thank you. The growth has been great lately. All right, so on the deal, from everything we know, man, it sure seems like Cincinnati has a point here. I guess I don't know that everybody is trying to enforce these types of clauses in NIL contracts, but we have seen this talked about now some. That was a part of what was going on with Washington quarterback Damon Williams when he entered the portal and then hopped back. There was a lot of talk about like, hey, if LSU takes him, they would have to then pay a bunch of money back to Washington because Damon Williams had just signed a contract, not even the previous season. He had just signed a contract already in that portal cycle. So there would have been punitive damages there to breaking that, which that's a part of this. Like, I know they're suing Brendan Sorsby. I would imagine this is the type of thing that like Texas Tech would just take care of, right? You would just throw an extra $1 million to Sorsby to make sure that he can handle this. So maybe you could frame it then that way. It's almost like them suing Texas Tech. Like, they're trying to get $1 million from somebody. And I would imagine if Brendan Sorsby is like in trouble here, Texas Tech could probably figure this out. Now, I know you would say, well, John, it would have to be through NIL Go, and it would have to be fair market value and whatever. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, fair market value and all that. But I do like the idea of, if these are in the contracts, can we have something that's enforceable in college football and college sports these days? Like, can something be actually enforceable here? I do like the idea that we would say, hey, yeah, school X that's taking this player, get that guy some extra money in there so that he can pay back whatever buyout is owed on this deal. Like, just something. I've been all for the players getting money and giving them more power and flexibility and control and everything. But we have gone so far that way. Can we have like one little concession here? Like, before like a Texas Tech fan would get super mad about this or something, like, something. Like, you take the player, that's fine, but there probably should be like some little punitive damage if they're breaking a contract. Now, if they just signed a 1-year deal, then they just signed a 1-year deal. That's fine. But if there was a contract here, man, I can see a scenario where, I guess if it's really coming after Brendan Sorsby in particular, maybe he doesn't have $1 million. Maybe he's not like liquid with $1 million to be able to come back and pay this right now, because these deals would be structured. You're getting like a paycheck. You're not getting it all up front or at once. And who knows how these are structured now. We already saw the example deal that was a proposal for Brendan Sorsby from LSU that got reported and was out there. It was like structured with money coming from different places. Not all of it was rev share. Some of it then was extra NIL above the cap, but some of it was rev share. So who knows how these deals are actually structured, especially with places getting creative now, trying to get behind the scenes done what they need to get done. Okay, so if that were the argument and Brendan Sorsby is just like, hey, just give me some more time and I'll have the money and I can give it to you, okay, that's like one thing. But if it's just like, nope, not going to pay it, and it really truly is, which I imagine Cincinnati would not be taking this much risk and taking it public, and I imagine they wouldn't be doing that if it's not in writing. Like, can we just pay the thing? Tech, take the quarterback. That's fine. You got the player. You got gobs of money. Kick them their $1 million that's owed for the contract. Like, I just, this seems a little bit silly if it's not happening because of the Texas Tech and Sorsby side, like digging in their heels. But I truly do not know. I do not know what exactly is going on with that. Now, it's probably a little bit extra charged from the Cincinnati side of things because this is a player that transferred within the conference. I'm sure that doesn't feel great. There is definitely a sense of jealousy among the Big 12 right now toward Texas Tech. I think that's been certainly palpable from what I've seen with fan reactions on Twitter. I don't know if it's always the same with the schools, but I'd imagine that there is a decent amount of that. So that may be forcing the issue on some of this a little bit more. Again, just me speculating here without knowing all of the details that are going on, but that would certainly stand to reason that Cincinnati's a little bit extra upset because it's like, yeah, this is a dude that not only is in the same conference, we're going to have to play him next year. Okay. More on that in a moment. But interestingly, I keep saying this isn't the whole story, right? We did get a little extra of this. Well, kind of. Okay. Because yesterday, Brendan Sorsby himself fired off a tweet that I did happen to see. And I was like, man, I don't love this. And this is nothing like personal with Brendan Sorsby, but this is a part of the new age of college sports and college football that I don't like. Brendan Sorsby, who played 2 years at Cincinnati, since he was very good for him, gave him a platform and an opportunity to step up and become a star player in college football. And now he turns around and just a couple months after leaving is like dunking on Cincinnati after a tough basketball loss. That was a pretty important loss, right? I mean, had Cincinnati won that, they've been back on the bubble. Like, that would have been huge for their NCAA tournament resume. And here's Brendan Sorsby taunting him a bit with the Wreckham after Cincinnati loses at Texas Tech. I get having some fun. I'm not trying to be the fun police here. Brendan Sorsby can have some fun if he wants, but my heart hurt for Cincinnati fans with this. This is the crappy part about college football these days. You know, you're seeing players go from one rival to another. Why am I blanking on Trace's last name? The defensive lineman who went from Oklahoma State to Oklahoma. I mean, K-State's watching Dylan Edwards now go to Kansas this year. Like, it's not a super fun part for me of college athletics. Maybe as a neutral party it is, but then when it affects your team, it sure sucks. And everybody's going to be affected by it at one point or another here. So I was not a huge fan of this, but I have to wonder now, seeing that this came yesterday and the lawsuit is now being made public today, did Brendan Sorsby know about it, have a whiff of it at least? And this is a part of it. Like, that's his side, like digging in a little bit, like, oh, well, screw you guys. You're going to come after me with this lawsuit for this money. Fine. Let me fire this back at you. I did have to wonder about that, if there's underlying tension because of that. Now, I said this really sucks if your team is involved with it. Okay. But what if your team is not and you're a neutral observer? We do get a game on October 24th this year, between Texas Tech and Cincinnati. So this will certainly add some spice to that game. Not that there wasn't plenty already, but now it's like, not only is it the former quarterback traveling to play his old team with the new Death Star of the Big 12 that is fielding in some ways a Big 12 All-Star team. Now you throw on top of that, oh, by the way, there was $1 million lawsuit in the mix here between these guys. And Brendan Sorsby's been taunting them on Twitter a little bit. It's getting more and more interesting. So sign me up for October 24th, Texas Tech at Cincinnati, by the way. They've got to go to Nippert, okay? I like that from a pure entertainment standpoint in the product that we're going to get in Big 12 football next year. Now, see, this is what I don't quite get. Cincinnati are sore losers. They're upset because they can't beat us, Texas Tech Red Raiders. Don't we feel like, old Texas Tech man, that anybody in the conference would feel the exact same way? Like, Texas Tech is not dealing with it right now. They're not in position to, because they generally can keep who they want because of the finances. But if Texas Tech were losing players to intra-conference opponents and they were breaking 2-year deals and it was written in the contract that you're supposed to give back $1 million, I think I know which side you would be on. Let's be fair when we talk about all of this, okay? I mean, Texas Tech fans, you spent a long time on the other side of this type of thing, technically. Let's have a little bit of empathy for the other side of the situation. If it's in the contract, why shouldn't this happen? Why shouldn't this happen? That would be my question. But I'm asking you guys. Let me know in the comments. Who do you think is in the right here? And do you think that Cincinnati is being too whiny about this situation? Now, I mentioned Big 12 All-Star team for Texas Tech. If you want more details on that, how that came together and what that looks like, click here.